Join me as I dive into the reasons couples often break up after moving in together, and I'll share my personal experience on how we navigated this tricky transition. Moving in together is a significant milestone in any relationship. It's when the romance and excitement of dating start to fade and reality sets in. Many of us have seen it happen to friends, family members, or even ourselves. Couples who were once inseparable suddenly find themselves drifting apart and eventually breaking up. So what goes wrong when couples take the leap and move in together? When you're living together, the dynamics of your relationship change dramatically. You're no longer just romantic partners, but also roommates, and that's when things can get tricky. For one, there are differing expectations. You might assume that since you're living together, you'll be spending more quality time together, but in reality, you might find yourself arguing over whose turn it is to do the dishes or whose mess is whose. Another challenge is the increased intimacy. Don't get me wrong, intimacy is amazing, but it can also be overwhelming. You're constantly surrounded by each other, and personal space becomes a luxury. This can lead to feelings of suffocation, resentment, and frustration. And let's not forget about the little things that drive you crazy, like how your partner leaves the cap off the toothpaste or snorts in their sleep. And then there's the issue of communication. When you're living together, you're forced to confront each other's habits, flaws, and quirks on a daily basis. If you're not communicating effectively, these little things can blow up into massive arguments. You start to feel like you're walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next fight will erupt. Financial stress is another common issue that arises when couples move in together. You're suddenly sharing expenses, and that can put a strain on your relationship. You might find yourself arguing over whose turn it is to pay the bills, or whose spending habits are more reckless. This can lead to feelings of resentment and mistrust. Financial stress can also lead to feelings of resentment and anxiety, especially if one partner is shouldering more of the financial burden. This can lead to feelings of being trapped, and eventually the relationship can become unsustainable. Loss of personal space is another major factor that contributes to breakups. When you're living together, you start to lose that sense of independence and autonomy. You're no longer the boss of your own space, and that can be really tough for some people. You start to feel like you're constantly being watched, judged, or criticized, and that can be really stifling. Communication issues are also a major contributor to breakups. When you're living together, you're forced to communicate more frequently, and if you're not doing it effectively, it can lead to misunderstandings, miscommunications, and conflicts. According to relationship experts, one of the biggest reasons couples break up after moving in together is that they're not prepared for the changes that come with cohabitation. They don't take the time to discuss their expectations, boundaries, and needs before making the leap. Dr. Rachel D'Alto, a relationship expert, says that couples need to have a come-to-Jesus conversation before moving in together, where they discuss their expectations, fears, and concerns. Another expert, Dr. Jan Lemaski, suggests that couples need to focus on building a strong foundation of trust, respect, and communication before taking the leap. She says that couples need to be willing to have tough conversations, listen to each other's concerns, and be open to compromise. Many couples have shared their own personal stories of struggle and triumph when it comes to moving in together. They talk about how they had to navigate the challenges of cohabitation and how they came out stronger on the other side. One couple I spoke to said that they had to learn to communicate more effectively and to prioritize their individual needs and boundaries. They said that it wasn't easy, but it was worth it in the end. So what can we take away from all of this? Moving in together is a big transition that requires effort, commitment, and communication from both partners. It's not just about love, it's about compromise, respect, and trust. If you're thinking of taking the leap, make sure you're prepared for the challenges that come with it. And to all my viewers out there, have you ever experienced a breakup after moving in with your partner? Share your own stories and tips in the comments below. And if you want more relationship tips and advice, be sure to check out my other video on building a stronger connection with your partner. Thanks for watching.